Hi, Weirdos! Welcome to Keep It Weird, the podcast for all things strange and unusual, beautiful and batty, creepy and cringe, and everything in between. Every time we get together, we chat about something weird, and this episode is certainly no exception. This week, we're taking a trip to a far-off land to dig up some bodies that are weirdly preserved and falling down a rabbit hole that's full of dolphins? Question mark? I suggest taking a quick snorkeling class and maybe buying some rubber overalls because it's about to get strangely sticky. So sticky, my goodness. My name is Ashley and this is my oh so lovely co-host Lauren.
Hi, Weirdos.
This is
so sticky. Oh, that got me good. Hey, Weirdos.
Hi, Weirdos. First off, old business. Bitch, you met Bo and Yang.
Oh my God. I have been wanting to talk about it. I got to go to the SAG Awards and meet Bo and Yang, who is one of my absolute favorite humans on this planet. It's like, yeah. I feel like I consume him in like every medium because I'm like, I love you on SNL. I listen to Las Culturistas, the podcast, religiously. I love the movie Fire Island. I loved Wicked. I saw it in theaters 3 times. It's like, he is every part of my life. And so when I was leaving to go to the SAG Awards, I was very honored. I got to go to the SAG Awards. It was a very cool LA experience. My friend is the supervising producer. She makes the show. It's crazy. And every year she gets to invite like 2 or 3 people to come and be the peasants who sit in the back. And so I got to come this year, which was amazing.
You still get to like wear a gown and be in the room.
Yeah. I got to wear a fun dress and I got to eat the dinner and drink all the booze. So it was lovely. But yeah, so I got to go to the SAG Awards. And when I was leaving, Alex was like, okay, like who would you be most excited to see? Which like took me a minute because I was like, oh, it's so overwhelming. Like I'd be excited about like, anybody. Yeah, like it'll just be cool. But right before I left, like last minute out the door, I said, you know what, Bo and Yang, like I better even just like be close to Bo and Yang, and like obviously it'd be an honor to meet him, but like I want to breathe his same air.
Yeah.
And that was like, I said that at the very last minute, and he's one of the only people I met. I was like, what? I manifested it.
You did. You manifested it.
We took a cute picture. I almost feel like you should splice it in here when you're editing because we look like we're best friends. And
you are best friends now.
I know. I mean, it was misleading. He was very nice, but like, I wish I could come home and be like, we exchange numbers. He's coming on the pod. The photo makes it look like we've been friends for like 10 years, but it was so fun. And
that's so
got
cute.
To be fancy. Bowen.
I really loved him in Please Don't Destroy.
My gosh, I forgot about that. Isn't he at like the
he's the cult leader?
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that.
The big paper mache head.
Yep, correct. Me and Alex were surprised at how hard we laughed at that because we were kind of like, oh, let's just put it on.
No, Joe and I have watched that movie like 4 times. It's so funny.
We were just talking about it before we were recording that like we stand by SNL even when other people try to talk shit on it. We stand SNL. I just think it's so special. I forget how you were putting it, that it's just like it's such an important part of like pop culture and like the world and politics and everything. Like it's been such an important piece for so many years, and it's very special. I'll love it forever, I think.
There's not really an era of SNL that I guess well, no, that's not true. I would say like the Sherry O'Terry, Will Ferrell, Will Forte, those seasons, I think that maybe are my favorite, simply because that's what it was growing up. And I think that's what it is for everyone. I think every single person, whatever it was when you were growing up, that's when it was the best. That's when it was the funniest.
Yes.
When in reality, if you go back and watch the full episodes, like every season is the exact same. Every episode has 1 or 2 funny skits.
It is so true.
The rest fall flat.
And it's like, been the same. Can't judge them. That's how it's always been.
Since the 70s. Don't act so like real. Chevy Chase never had a bum sketch. He fucking did. Trust me.
Everybody does. Even Bowen. Now Bowen's perfect.
One other last thing that I have to reference.
Oh, Lord. Your little smirk is killing me because I know it's going to be something embarrassing.
No, it's not. No, it's not embarrassing.
Okay.
What it is we got a really great email from a listener, Adam Norvell. Hey, Adam. What's up, Adam?
Hi, Adam. Thanks for writing.
And he wrote like a ton of great stuff about UAP disclosure and like how he feels about the situation. He feels real fishy about it, as do I. But we didn't really get into it last episode because we were recorded for 2 hours. But same. I'm also sus, but he said the last two things I want to say are, one, I have also gotten into it with Anjali on Reddit.
Stop!
And I was just asking a simple question. I was open-mindedly following her, but she actually seems to be somewhat ill-tempered, especially when you question her.
She's
so
mean.
Much for light and love, LOL.
I am obsessed with that. Thank you for saying that, because me and Ashley were both like, damn, girl, we tried to be on your side. Like,
listen, I'm a supporter.
Yeah, it was like Ashley followed her being open-minded. It's like, yeah, she said some kooky things, but we were like, let's hear her out.
With nothing to follow it up.
I know, and then the meanest to everyone.
Listen.
Like, so now I don't know if we're on your
I'm not the only one, but also this is for you. Number 2, this is from forever ago, but Lauren had asked if anyone else found the lion statue at the shops at Prairie Mall creepy, and I will absolutely say yes. I grew up in the country in the area of West Galesburg, and when my mom would take me there as a kid, I always thought that thing was weird as hell.
That is the most validating I've ever heard. That was from forever ago.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even remember this conversation. Like, what were we talking about?
Well, I do, because I know what I'm talking about. That is phenomenal. Gosh, Adam, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. We love emails like that.
We do.
Wink, wink. Listeners, send us emails all the time.
Try it sometime.
Try it out.
We also never discussed who was going first, but
we did not, and that was my next question. I think you should go first.
All right. With the help from my podcast partner, Ashley, we are going to kick things off with a segment we call Unsolved Mystery. That's my favorite.
Unsolved Mystery. Love a good unsolved mystery. Netflix, where you at? Another season. I know, waiting. Ding, ding, ding. Hello. Is anybody there?
We'd really like one, please.
We'd really love one. I will say the season 6 of The Unexplained with William Shatner dropped. I don't know when. I just kind of noticed it was there, that there was a season I hadn't seen. And so far, it's been really good. So,
okay, jump on it.
If you're missing the Unsolved Mysteries vibe.
Unexplained.
He's such a great host.
I mean, perfection.
He's so charismatic. Holy shit. No, I don't care if he's a misogynist. I don't even know if he is. I just feel like he would be a guy that people would be like, yeah, but he's a misogynist. And it's like, okay, well, fuck. Who isn't?
I know. I'm like, especially when they get into their older age, we're all just like, aren't they all the worst? Like, they were raised differently. Just kidding. We are never condoning any of that, but
never.
We love him as a host. Unsolved Mystery. I feel like I always go down the crime route because I am who I am. But I didn't this time, and I was very proud. This is so cool. I had this in my back pocket for a while. I think I was going to bring it to last season. The bog bodies. I
have heard the phrase bog bodies 10 billion times.
Same.
Never looked into it.
I'm
very excited for you to tell me what the fuck bog bodies are and why I should be interested in them.
I know. I feel like I would always just hear it and then like see this creepy face like as a photo online. I was like, I'll look at that at some point.
Eventually I'll learn.
So picture this. You are hiking through the misty, eerie boglands of Northern Europe.
Okay, would never happen. Go on.
I know, but just like, let's just try
okay.
to go there.
Here we go.
And then out of the dark, damp earth, an ancient face is suddenly staring back at you, looking creepy and terrifying as hell.
Is that real?
This is not the plot of a horror movie. It's real. It really happened. For centuries, bodies have been turning up in Europe's bogs, eerily preserved, leathery skin, haunted expressions, frozen in time. But here's the kicker. no one really knows why they're there. Is this a murder? Is this a ritual sacrifice? Did somebody misstep into the bog? We don't know, and the truth still remains as murky as that marsh today.
Oh my God, this is an episode of Unsolved
I was having
Mysteries.
too much fun with my notes.
It's perfect. It's perfect for the vibe. So you're telling me that these aren't just like bodies deep, deep, deep in the bog, that like they were found because they came up and someone saw their face?
They didn't just like float to the surface. They were found when, which I'll get into in a second, when people were out looking like specifically for peat, which is like something you can burn for fuel. And these are called like peat marshlands or peat bogs that are in Northern Europe. So people are going out there, and when they do like some digging or scooping around then they're finding these bodies, and they look perfectly preserved. And when you're in a marshland, you're kind of like, how and why?
Yeah, was this body dropped last week or 10?
Correct.
100 years ago, 1000.
I mean,
help.
You're not like that for no, like that's what's crazy, and I'm going to get to it in a second, is like the people who came upon them called the police and were like, "Oh, a murder victim. We just found this person.
Discovered a fresh bod.
Could have been fresh." And you will find out that is not correct. So one of the biggest stories was in May of 1950. There was a family in Denmark digging for a material called peat, made of decomposed plants that can be burned as fuel. And as they dug, they uncovered the surprise of a human body. It was a man curled up on his side with a leather rope around his neck and a very peaceful expression on his face, as if he was just like sleeping. So they're like weirded out and in shock, of course. So they're calling the police and saying like, I think we found a murder victim. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, though. And they explain like where the body is. It's underground near the bog. And the police quickly realize when they get there, like, this is not like a typical body. Like, yes, it looks somewhat fresh, but like all these other things are pointing to something weird. So then they have to call in more people, police officers, and then eventually curators from a nearby museum in Denmark called the Silkeborg Museum come in, because they're like, we need like historians in here. Something very strange is going on. They call an archaeologist to help them excavate the remains, and they soon realize that this is a man who is 2,400 years old. 2,400 years old. That's why I giggled at you being like 1,000. I was
1,000?
like, Ashley.
Yeah. So, what you would expect to be bones.
Correct.
Dust.
'Twas not bones. 'Twas not dust. It was a perfectly preserved body that is 2,400 years old. And again, there were several bodies found in different areas of Europe, but this was one of the most famous ones here in Denmark, called the Tolland Man, named after a nearby village. Yep, I was like, that's like the most famous name.
Absolutely, I've heard that one.
And so the Tolland Man is like one of the biggest ones that's talked about today because of his like sleeping nestled in position, but then having a noose around his neck. Like, it's so confusing and so strange, but they weren't able to get any DNA off of him, but they found out all of these other things, and we are learning so much about what has been lovingly named the bog bodies.
Bog bodies.
The bog bodies of Europe. So
now, when you say they've been found all over Europe, you mean that like they're not just in a like centrally localized place. They're just
anywhere there's a marsh.
Within the bogs of Europe.
Only in Europe, but yeah, anywhere there's a bog and a marsh.
The closest thing that I have come to witnessing bog body is The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe. I'm pretty sure that child's ghost was a bog body.
Is that true?
Yeah, that crashed into the marsh there.
Yeah, you could be right. I haven't seen it in so long. I know that I love that movie.
Girl, rewatch that one. It is scary AF.
No, I'm like, that's what I remember. I couldn't tell you the entire like plot line. I just remember like screaming and hiding behind a blanket. But
I feel like when it came out, maybe it didn't get as much attention as it deserved, because I will say it was jarring to see Daniel Radcliffe playing like a widower who lost his kid. You know what I mean?
I remember struggling with that.
The last thing I fucking knew, you were Harry Potter.
Correct.
So this is really difficult for me to, but like, I think we're enough removed. We know him as an adult now that you can watch The Woman in Black and not be like, what's Harry Potter doing here?
Harry
Doing
it.
What are you doing in the bog?
Don't buy it.
Hogwarts. Get back to Hogwarts. What are you doing out here?
No, that is so true. But now I'm going to do a rewatch, especially after this story, because if there's
that's
a
bog
body ghost, we got to get in there. Oh, and they need to tell us what happened to them. So, it's a mystery, an ancient mystery. So, bog bodies are these human remains found in peat bogs across Europe, particularly, I can never say that word with confidence ever. Particularly.
You just got to run right into it head on.
And in Denmark, Ireland, the Netherlands, and Germany. And unlike skeletons, these bodies often still have their skin, hair, and even stomach contents intact. Scientists were able to see what their last meal was, which is crazy. And some of them had ingested psychedelics. It was like, what was going on back in the day? I have so many questions found.
We've always loved doing drugs.
Everyone's always loved it. Forever. So it's crazy. And the reason this happens, the one thing we do know around all of this mystery is that it is from the bog that they were preserved, because it has such a unique chemical makeup. There are different types of wetlands, but a bog has low levels of nutrients and oxygen, and it's acidic. So unlike most other plants, there's something called sphagnum.
Okay. That sounds gross.
Able to thrive in these particular conditions, and the low oxygen, high acidity make bogs able to naturally preserve human remains with detail, again, so that they look fresh. And they're inhospitable to much bacteria, fungi, and insects that would normally break down organic matter, like bodies. So the acidic waters are especially good at preserving soft tissue, like skin and internal organs. It's basically like how vinegar can pickle vegetables, is a good way to think about it. For idiots like me, they're pickling people in the bogs. And these aren't just like random ancient folks who took a wrong turn on their way home, even though like you could throw that out as a theory. Like, there's lots of signs of extreme violence on most of the bodies who were found, like throat slashed, skulls crushed, hands bound, the noose around Tallinn Man. Like, it is almost always grim.
No natural deaths.
It doesn't seem like it. There are a few bodies who don't have all the violent marks and look a little more peaceful, and so that's the confusing part. Most are grim and nasty and believe it was like a murder and then like get into the bog. But some people have a very spiritual connection to this story and think it's more like, no, they like entered the bog when they knew it was their time to go, and that's why they're like peacefully sleeping. But I'm like, but what about all the other events where they look crazy and brutally murdered?
Well, and the thing is too, 2,400 years ago, we don't know if it was a bog then. Well, I guess smarter men than me. Just kidding. Actually,
it had to be.
I'm
That's
just
the only
saying
way.
words. I'm just saying words without actually knowing a thing. Just kidding. What am I thinking?
You just made a comment that I would normally make.
Yeah, just pulled that out of my ass. Oh, we wouldn't know what the weather was like. Yes, we would. Yeah, smart people would. You fucking idiot.
If they weren't in the bog, we wouldn't have this story.
Yeah, okay, sure. Well, because my thought was like, okay, I mean, like, what was going on there then? Like, was it a dumping ground? Like, did they know, like, this is a good place to hide bodies? Because, I mean, fuck, I don't know.
I know. Hence
the mystery.
So the theories, when we're like, why are you in your boggy grave?
Right.
We have ritual sacrifice.
Love it.
Some archaeologists think these individuals were offerings to gods or spirits, and they were to ensure good harvest, peace, or protection. Like ancient vibes of like, you're taking one for the team. Sorry, ritual sacrifice.
Sorry.
Punishment or execution is probably the most popular. Like that they were criminals and outcasts who like were sentenced and needed this gruesome fate. Accidental deaths, that's like kind of what I was saying before, it seems unlikely because either they look extremely peaceful, like they walked in on their own, or it was like brutal murder for y'all. And then some people think that the bog bodies could be evidence of political assassinations or power struggles, personal vendettas, which is like dramatic and fun.
The drama, love it.
We just don't know what was going on. Like, there's not written records really from this time. Like, we're just going off of the little bit of clues we have, and like archaeologists, historians, and scientists are trying to work together, and we're getting some information, but there's still just so much missing that like it's just been so long. Like, how are we gonna solve this? So it's just a crazy thing, but these bodies give us this like eerie up close look at ancient life, possible beliefs, and death rituals. But it's like the bigger question also has come out. It's a little controversial, of people saying, like, how do we handle human remains of the past that we are finding this well preserved? Like, should they be displayed in museums? Should we rebury them to honor them? Like, are we doing the right thing? And so people are very mixed. And of course, religious groups and even, just spiritual people in general are kind of like, leave them at their resting place. That's what was meant to be. But then scientists and historians are like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
yeah,
I'm
this is
going
incredible.
to keep this in a display case, and we're going to keep investigating as much as we can. So it's controversial. People are torn on it. I don't know what the right answer is. I'm such a curious, nosy bitch that I want to keep learning more answers. So yeah. I'm kind of on like the side of science, but I mean, I hear the other side.
I hear the other side, but I also, obviously not everyone could be like me. I'm a pretty spiritual person, and I'm like, once you are out of the body, you don't give a shit
where your final resting place is.
I don't know. I just feel like when I'm dead, throw me in the backyard. Like, I don't give a shit.
Truly. I want to do that thing where you can get cremated and become like mulch.
Yeah. I want to get mulched. Mulch me.
Can I be mulched? No, I agree with you. It's like, where's my
matter.
soul's final resting place?
Yeah.
I don't care about this. I don't care about this sack. Potatoes.
I can't speak for everyone.
Exactly. And that's why I'm saying, like, I respect and hear the other side, but of course that makes this more controversial. But it's like, we also want to get answers, and I don't know that we ever will. Like, even with the cool things that they're finding out, like being able to tell like how long ago this person was from, and like what they were eating that day, like those are crazy things that we have gotten to learn, at least. So there's a little something, but I don't think we'll ever know like why they were here, what was going on. And it's this crazy puzzle we want to piece together, and maybe we'll, I don't know. But
it's interesting when there's no written or oral records of the bogs being a place for whatever they were for, which makes me think it's a serial killer.
In religious text, it's not who was just going all over Europe, like
one guy,
get to the bog. No, it totally could be. That's the thing. I mean, yeah, so many theories being thrown around, but it's like infuriating to be like, why is there no record? Like, I want to know what the bogs meant. Like, did you know that they would preserve the body, or were you like, oh, this is just a place to dump a body?
Yeah, it's just a place to easily dump a body, because you know how hard it is to dig a hole.
It's fucking hard, and I would never do it.
If you could just throw something that would eventually sink, hello, that's so much easier than digging a hole. Digging a hole is impossible.
Marshy wetlands also, it just feels like, oh, things are overgrown. Get out of here, of course. But yeah, it's fascinating. I don't know if we'll ever know for sure, but I think it's just the stomach content part is just what stuck out to me the most. Where it was like, oh, they had their porridge and then also a psychedelic plant. And it was like, what?
Damn, you're having psychedelics in the morning with your porridge? That's fucking baller, dude. That's a baller guy.
I know. Yeah, so that is basically the general idea. Like, the investigation is very much still on. Like, you can find very recent articles, you can find super old articles from when like the investigating really began. Like, some people are determined to keep finding out more, but mostly they're just studying the body and the bones and the skin, and just like trying to piece anything together that they can about these people. Like, what even, like, race, like what was happening. I don't know. I feel like they're trying to get to the bottom of that too. So we'll see.
I love it.
Preserved bodies from so long ago, is it?
Bog bodies. My new film.
Is that going to be the title of
yeah.
it?
Bog bodies.
I'm kind of obsessed with that, honestly.
Wow. Okay. Well, now we know what bog bodies are. Now I don't have to file that away. It's like, make sure you look up bog bodies someday. It's there now, and I'll never not know it.
I know. It's like, I mean, you'll never forget the story, but I'm so happy you experienced that too. I felt like I just would see bog bodies. I'm like, I don't know what this can possibly mean. Holy shit, it's this ancient dead man. Perfectly preserved.
I felt that way about the Lacey Peterson, because Netflix released like American Murder, Scott Peterson or something this year. And that was one where I was like, I know the name.
But do I know what actually happened?
I don't actually fucking know anything about this. It's just something that I knew the name so well that I just sort of like every time something would come up about it, I'd be like, yeah, I know that. I know the Lacey Peterson story.
Those Petersons.
Yeah, the Petersons. Yeah, duh. And then finally I watched it. I was like, I didn't know any of this. I knew none of it.
I feel like we texted about that after we both watched it, that we were like, did I know anything about this case?
I remember it being on the news at the time, and that wasn't a time where I was like true crime invested or interested or anything. So like I obviously didn't follow it, but I just knew that it was there all the time when it was happening.
Correct.
Just assumed I knew everything about it.
Well. This just in. It is time for your Witch's Forecast with Laura LaRue. Laura, are you there? Can you hear us?
Thanks, Lauren. We've got your 4-week witchy forecast ready to go. That'll cover the rest of March and into April, so let's jump right in. We're starting today with a cosmic blast of energy from last night's full moon in Virgo. And for millions of people across North and South America, you were dealing with a full lunar eclipse. Woo, what a doozy. Tomorrow, we're looking at a lot of chaotic vibes as Mercury enters retrograde and stays there for the next few weeks. So carry rose quartz, tend your own gardens, bring an umbrella. Let's look ahead to next week where we are going to welcome back spring. That's right, Ostera is on its way March 20th. And not only that, on March 20th, we will say goodbye to dreamy, flowy Pisces season and hello to fiery, headstrong Aries season. It's got us feeling bold, confident. But remember, tread lightly. Mercury is still in retrograde until the beginning of April. And not only that, on the 29th, we've got another eclipse shaking things up this month. A partial solar eclipse will be visible from Europe, Northern Asia, and Northwestern Africa. Also on the 29th, we've got our new moon, and those productive waxing moon vibes will carry us into April and right up until the next witchy weather forecast. Back to you, Lauren, for the breakdown.
Thank you, Laura, for that very important witchy information. It's witchy weather forecast time. And that was beautiful.
I love that.
Laura!
Hi!
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Resident Green Witch, bringing us the forecast. I'm so excited.
This is really fun. Thank you for including me on these new segments. I'm looking forward to joining you guys.
New year, new segments. Everyone is always so happy to have you. Like, you are at one of the most requested people to come on. Everyone wants to ask you back. So,
oh my God, that's so sweet.
It's real, girl.
It's always great to be back.
Tell us what's up.
Let's jump right into that breakdown. So, I hope you guys enjoyed our bit. I went really fast there, so let's kind of break things up. Let's talk about that full moon. The full moon last night was a full moon in Virgo, and we love a full moon. It gives us so much. But not only was it a full moon, there was a full lunar eclipse.
Ooh.
Created that kind of like blood moon illusion.
Yes.
And eclipses can bring big shakeups and big revelations. And this one was calling you to release from your need for control, to embrace life's mysterious side. Spiritual exploration and creativity require freedom. So this full moon in Virgo is asking you to do just that. The full moon in March is sometimes known as the storm moon or the wind moon or even the death moon. Ooh.
Oh.
But that's because it's ushering in a time of change and awakening after this bleak, dormant period of winter. Like, this is kind of the first spring moon. I mean, we're not to spring quite yet.
Spring awakening.
Yes.
I love that.
Things are coming back. The dust is kind of shaking off. Like, everything's kind of coming back. So right now, it's a good time to do spells and set intentions for personal growth. Really kind of focus on yourself, especially now that the moon is going to be waning. It is a time to be looking inwards. So really, now's a good time for
That's so good.
For you, for self-care.
March and April do feel like rebirth anyway. Because I think after the holidays, January and February really like go slow and
Yeah.
slog on, and people have a lot of trouble with it. So I kind of love that it's just rebirth in the spring.
Yeah, you're in hibernation. It's the winter time. I
Yes.
mean, the natural world around you like is taking it easy, taking it slow. You should be doing the same. I feel like
Hmm.
a lot of people in January and February are like New Year's resolutions, new year, new me. Like, how are we going to hit this year running? And it's like,
No, kind of like
it's
it's
okay to take
okay.
it slow right now.
Stay
That
down.
is the natural
Yeah.
order of things. And now is kind of the time we're going to start waking up a little bit.
Love that.
Get out and stretch, like dust the cobwebs off. There's a whole reason there's like this spring cleaning kind of vibes right now because you are
Yeah.
kicking the dust off everything. So this is a really chaotic March. March is going to be a really chaotic month. It kind
Yes.
of is coming out of this sleepy, nice, like Pisces season right after this full moon. So tomorrow, Mercury in retrograde. Wow, wow.
Why? Why?
Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it.
No, I hate it.
Retrogrades occur. I said that really weird. Retrogrades occur when a planet appears to rotate backwards. This is caused because there's different speeds at which the planet orbits the sun, and it's kind of an optical illusion. The planet's not actually spinning backwards. But from Earth, when we're looking at them, it looks like it is. All planets do this, and because each planet rules different emotions, different feelings, different headspaces, when Mercury is in retrograde, you hear about it quite a bit because Mercury is the logistical planet. It
Okay.
rules communication, schedules, timing, even technology. So its retrogrades can really mess things up.
That makes so much sense, probably to everyone listening
Yeah.
to this. Like, it's always like, why is it ruining what feels like my
Yeah.
entire life? But that really
And
tracks.
a lot of people like to blame a lot on Mercury in retrograde.
Sure, sure.
And I mean, I take it easy. I try to think a lot before I speak when Mercury is in retrograde, but I do like to equate it as like it's just a windy day. Like there's a strong wind, it doesn't mean that you can't drive your car. It's not so strong that it's pushing you back. You
Sure.
can go out, you can do your daily things. Just take it easy.
Yeah,
You're going to have a little resistance. That's kind of what I was thinking of.
sure. So tread lightly. Like that's good advice. And you don't have to blame like every single inconvenience, but just know that you might meet
Yeah.
resistance. I feel like that's the best way to put it, Laura.
Yeah, it's nothing to be scared of, just a little resistance. And this retrograde will stay with us until April 6th. So
Okay.
it's with us for the rest of the month. It's there till April 6th. So,
Can be strong. We can do hard things, everybody.
well, and like I was saying earlier, the full moon just happened.
Hmm.
So it is time for the waning moon. And that is a time to focus inwards, prep spells and meditations that involve decrease or letting go. And that's actually perfect timing for retrograde. So if you are already taking it easy because you're in the waning moon phase, taking it easy because you're also in retrograde, it just kind of seems like all signs
It
are
matches.
pointing
It's the
to
time.
take it easy.
Take it easy. Have some grace with yourself.
But just because there's a lot of chaotic energy from the moon, there's a lot of things telling you to take it slow and take it easy, that is not going to put a damper on what I'm looking forward to so much. It's the spring equinox.
Woo! I'm so excited
Oh
too.
my gosh. Ostera is, I think, one of my favorite witchy celebrations of the year.
Same. You introduced it to me 2 years ago, I think. You were the first one to teach me about it. And I have been obsessed ever since and now like practice different spells and rituals during it. So it's so exciting.
It's really the first time of year you get to like have this light, airy, breezy, like fun refresh. The lights returning, the sun's returning, Mother Earth is waking up and saying hello. It's time to start looking at this year and seeing possibilities. This Sabbath celebrates the triumph of life over death, as well as fertility and creativity. It's a time for planting seeds, literally and figuratively. So if you use a lot of herbs like I do in your spells and your craft, now's a good time to start planting them. It also is start setting those goals you want to attain throughout the year. Start setting those intentions. It's a good time to start looking ahead, and it's a good time for new beginnings.
Oh, we all need that. See, it doesn't have to be January. Put
It
those New
doesn't have
Year's
to be January.
resolutions, New Year's? What did I say? New Year's resolutions
New
aside.
Year's.
New York. No. It's any time is good. You can start again anytime.
There are so many ways you can celebrate Ostera. I, in the past, have made this really great lemon lavender cake.
Yum.
Which I don't know if you remember this video. It's been a couple years, so
yeah, I think we posted it, right?
Like, it's an old witchy Wednesday.
Yes.
If you guys don't repost it, I might repost it over on Lee's and Lore because that cake was awesome. And while I would like to think that I will have the bandwidth to make that cake again, I'm going to be very realistic with myself.
Which is good.
Yeah, no, I am not someone who has a lot of time for their craft anymore. I'm chasing around a toddler most days.
Mm-hmm.
So simply getting yourself out in nature, going for a walk, feeling the sun on your skin, those are excellent ways to celebrate the day. Gathering flowers and adorning your home or your altar with them. In fact, I want to take this time to ease into my mini segment, a segment within a segment, if you will. The lazy pagan.
We both just did this exact same motion, which feels like it was meant to be. And I appreciate this segment because I feel like I am the lazy pagan. I always tell you that. I'm like, give me some easy but still useful ways to practice. So here for it.
Oh yeah, honestly, here in the Lazy Pagan, I'm just going to be here to show you a little bit of magic in the mundane. And today we're just going to shine a light on daffodils.
Oh, daffodils.
Just the simple, lovely, bright, sunny daffodil.
I love so much.
They are usually the first flower to poke out this time of year. Many of you have probably already seen them pop up, more if so, they're just starting to bud out. They are so friendly, so understated. They have major correspondence to Ostera. It's one of the symbols of the day, and many believe they offer good luck. So, really, this Ostera, I am only holding myself accountable for getting a few daffodils. It doesn't even have to be a big bouquet. I like to go and just like here, they do actually grow in my front yard, so I'll be cutting like maybe 3 or 4, putting them in a glass of water and putting them on my altar, and like that's it. It's a little bit of luck, it's a little bit of sunshine, and when I look at it, like I can just see that magic in the mundane. And honestly, that's all I have to do. That's all I have to do. To make it a special occasion, bring a little magic into my life.
That is so perfect and so easy for any of us to do, especially like anybody chasing around toddlers, anybody nursing babies, anybody with a really busy job, like whatever it is. I love that there is still a way to bring the magic in.
I didn't know this when I was first getting so when I was living in Los Angeles still, I would get my daffodils from Trader Joe's. I know it's even lazier than getting them from the front yard.
I've done it. Guilty.
But they come and they are like still, they haven't bloomed yet. They're kind of still in their bud. So I didn't realize what they were for the longest time. And finally I got a bundle and took them home, and you put them in water first. And like overnight, you kind of just watch them all expand.
And they'll bloom.
That was I found very deeply like just magical watching it. And if you haven't had a time to appreciate a daffodil, I highly recommend it.
Doing it during Ostera. Now is the time. Laura, thank you as always to our, we have so many titles now, like resident, green witch, pagan, lazy pagan, resident, all of the things, but you are our glorious witchy forecast queen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I guess that's kind of the beauty about having your own craft, is it is ever evolving. I see myself more as a pagan now than I do a green witch, but honestly,
I love that. Evolving.
There's still like practices that I take from witchcraft and paganism, and honestly, it's
yours.
It's mine. But it's always lovely to be here talking witchy things. I am so looking forward to doing it again and again and again. I can't wait till the next one.
We get to do a monthly segment. It's so exciting, everybody. And let's see if I can get it on. Now it's back to you. Keep it weird, Ashley and Lauren.
Are you ready?
Think your rabbit holes freak me out.
Sure? It's time to fall
down the rabbit hole. Also, I brought a mini bottle of champagne up, and I'm pouring myself some while I enjoy a rabbit hole. I know. It's early. You can judge me.
You're just like the bog body with his porridge and LSD.
I'm having my porridge and bubbles. Is porridge the same as oatmeal? What is porridge?
Here's the thing. No one knows.
Okay, thank you.
That's an unsolved mystery.
Unsolved mystery. Porridge. What the fuck?
Porridge? Is it oatmeal? We don't know. Okay. Hell yeah, my first rabbit hole of the season. And it's a dang old doozy.
Never not a doozy.
Hold on to your butts. We are going from marine mammal law. We're going to make a pit stop and meet an extraterrestrial. That's going to be really fun. And all the while, we are going to learn that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was right all along. So long and thanks for all the fish. It's about to get wet. What?
I love that you intro these with what we're going to cover because they never make any sense.
No.
And it makes it more exciting. Okay.
It's really fun to follow my Googling. So, starting with marine mammal law. Did you know that it is illegal to interact with dolphins?
What? No.
Obviously not at like SeaWorld, which
when you like ride on the back of their fin.
Should not exist, but that's neither here nor there. No, actually, you know what? It is here. SeaWorld shouldn't exist. Full stop.
I know, and it sucks because they employ Alex's company. Like, he designs rides for them because he's gotten into the theme park world, and I'm like, I know we need the money, but I hate this place. So anyway, I know I've caved to the man. Anyway,
I've caved to the man. We all have. We all bow down to the man. Okay, but dolphins in the wild, it is illegal to interact with them. And like,
I had no idea.
Duh, they're wild animals. You shouldn't be feeding them. You shouldn't be swimming with them. It's dangerous. But it's also illegal to talk to them in the wild.
Like if you just lean over a boat.
Yeah, you're not supposed to talk to them. And this has set a few parts of the internet on fire because people are like, that's a weird law. Why can't we talk to dolphins?
Yeah.
My first reaction to this was like, hey guys, it's probably more so that you're not supposed to go within 50 yards of a wild dolphin.
Right.
And it's
like, just maybe don't get too close.
It's kind of hard to talk to them when you're 50 yards away. So if you put 2 and 2 together, not necessarily illegal to talk to them, just illegal to get that close to them. And therefore, if so facto, illegal to talk to them until I started reading about it. And now I'm not so sure. I was inspired to look into this because a longtime listener, friend of the pod, Rachel Esquivel, commented on a TikTok that was posted by another longtime listener and friend of the pod, Sabrina Rose, in our Facebook group. This is your sign to join the Facebook group. It is so much fun.
A lot of fun.
Anyway, Sabrina posted a TikTok of a woman who was questioning why can't we fucking talk to dolphins and whether or not dolphins themselves are the aliens in our oceans. And Rachel popped in and she was telling this story that she heard about a woman who was a former night shift janitor at an aquarium. And it was so fascinating. I found the full story online, so I'm going to tell it to you now. So this woman, who we are going to call Cynthia, developed what she believed to be a telepathic relationship with a dolphin at an aquarium. Cynthia, who has not publicly revealed her identity because why would she? She said she did not consider herself to be psychic or telepathic. She had never had an experience with this before, and she wasn't even a believer in this kind of stuff before this experience with this dolphin.
Okay.
So one night she was cleaning the glass of the dolphin enclosure. It was an aquarium attached to a zoo. The zoo was not named. And she noticed that one of the dolphins, named Nia, was pretty intently following her around and watching her clean the glass. And she did wave, like, obviously. She was like, hi, Nia, and then went about clean, whatever. And Nia was watching her, following her every move. And as she was cleaning the glass, she heard her name clear as day.
Cynthia.
So much so that she thought her supervisor had snuck up on her, and she looked around,
looking over
to
her shoulder,
see them, and no one was there. She was alone.
Oof.
Weird, but whatever. Clean. I'm not gonna let it get to me.
I'm just hearing things.
And then she hears her name again.
No.
Clear as day.
Who's saying it?
Cynthia.
So she's like,
I already believe by round 2.
what the fuck? It's in my head. Maybe I'm sleep deprived. Like, it's a night shift. Like, maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Whatever.
I mean, fair.
And then she hears it a third time. And she's like, do I need to go home? Like, do I need to call out sick? What's happening? And at that moment, she looked at Nia, who was still staring at her. And in her head, she heard, clear as day,
"What are you doing?"
And she's just stunned, and she just stands there, and it's repeated again.
"What are you doing?"
And Cynthia was like,
Mm-mm.
Is it Nia?
Are you? I'd just be like, are we doing this?
So she was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to answer the question. So she says out loud, like, I'm cleaning, I'm working. And in her head, she hears, or she like gets the impression of the question,
"What's working?"
And so she literally explained what work was. And first of all, Nia was like,
"I do not get it."
because she's a dolphin and she doesn't understand why we have to make money to buy food.
Yeah. Can I swim, please?
But yeah, so this was the first of many conversations that Cynthia had with this dolphin. And it wasn't something that she told people about. She knew no one would ever believe her. Yeah.
No, she'd be fired immediately.
She knew there was no way to prove it. So she just didn't ever try to explain herself. She just really fucking liked talking to Nia the dolphin, and they became friends. They talked all the time.
Was it real or was it Cynthia's therapy?
Well,
okay.
The story becomes pretty fucking sad. So I don't know how much y'all want to hear this, but fast forward a minute or two if you don't want to hear this part. But throughout her conversations with Nia expressed to Cynthia that she had a child before she was in captivity and that she wanted to go home. And every night they would talk about things. They would ask each other questions, like Nia knew about her kids. But all the conversations always led to Nia asking, can you help me get back home?
Oh my God.
Then one day, Nia revealed that she was pregnant. And Cynthia was thrilled, but immediately sad because Nia was not putting off excited vibes. Nia said she was worried about her baby and she knew something wasn't right with the pregnancy. So Cynthia tried to reassure her, but sure enough, every time they talked, Nia was telling her something isn't right with my baby. And it got to the point where Cynthia was like, I can't not do anything. Like, this is fucking killing me. So she notified her supervisor and said, like, I think something's wrong with Nia. Like, I think maybe something's wrong with the pregnancy. Like, she didn't want to say, like, Nia told me. So she's like, I think something's wrong.
I was just going to say, how did she approach the supervisor?
Yeah, like observing her, I think something's wrong. And of course, they insisted, like, everything's fine. Dolphins give birth in captivity all the time. She's being monitored around the clock by aquatic veterinarians. She's in good hands. So Cynthia relayed that to Nia and said, like, please don't worry, your baby's going to be fine. But Nia insisted, something is wrong. I'm telling you, I'm a mother. Something's wrong. Mm-hmm. So a couple weeks later, Cynthia wasn't there at the time, but she came into work to find out that Nia lost her baby. She did give birth, but the baby was stillborn. She tried to talk to Nia multiple times after this, but Nia never communicated with her again and was usually kind of just floating around. She was not...
I'm sure she was actually depressed.
Truly. And she eventually transferred to another zoo, Nia did. And after that, Cynthia quit her job. She said the overwhelming sadness of the entire experience and the helplessness of it all almost broke me. I was devastated. And she said still to this day, she cannot and will not work with animals in captivity. Even though she's never had another experience like this, she's never felt as though she communicated with another animal. Like, this is a one-off. This isn't something that happens to her all the time.
Yeah.
So that's just one woman's story, right? She could have been cuckoo bananas. She could have had a touch of the phrenia. She could have been making it all up.
Right.
I'm with you. I'm on your side.
Yeah.
Until I started finding similar stories.
No.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping you would say, but I was like, could she have just been like going through trauma and like that was it? But okay, let's get to it.
This is not the only person who has experienced this. I started finding similar stories, like this one from a woman named Suzette Horspool. That is her real name. A little background on her so you could know that she's not weirdo. So in her 20s, she got a business degree, ended up joining the Peace Corps and living in Botswana, Africa. In her 30s, she worked for the U.S. Forest Service in Oregon. She joined the women's movement. Then she ended up back in the Peace Corps, this time serving in Grenada. In her 40s, she got her master's degree in sustainable development and began writing, and that's what she does to this day. She's 74 now. She lives in Cali. She actually
What a woman.
I know. She was evacuated from the Eaton fire recently. She didn't lose her home, so that's good.
Oh, man.
And now she just sort of, in her retirement, she writes a ton of articles on environmental activism, the health of the planet. She's a really cool fucking lady.
Yeah,
and
sounds
she
like it.
had an experience with a dolphin too.
I mean, if anyone's gonna, she seems like the right person. Nature is trying to contact her because she is helping nature.
They're trying. So in 1962, she was 11 years old, and her father was a teacher at a small university on the island of Oahu. It was 1962. Children didn't have the most supervision.
Sure.
You'll be fine. It was Hawaii, so she often swam by herself in the ocean. This wasn't something that was rare.
It's like so terrifying to hear now.
An 11-year-old, I know, but like, you know, they're fine. They're capable. They could have a job at 11, so.
She made it. I mean, she's still alive.
One day, school let out early and she decided to go body surfing, something she did often. But this particular day, the ocean was a little rough. And Suzette she got caught up in a riptide and pulled underwater.
Oof.
She tried to fight the undertow, but it was just dragging her further underwater. And she was literally like, well, I'm dead. Great.
I would be like, yep, this was it. Like, I hope it feels peaceful.
So obviously, after a certain amount of time underwater, she starts panicking. And in her head, she remembers thinking, help, 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 please, God, please help. And she heard this super soothing voice say,
just relax. You don't need to breathe.
I feel like I'd be like, God?
hello? So she relaxed. She just stopped trying to breathe and just relaxed. And the ocean started to like waft her gently under the surface. And she heard the voice again say,
you will know when it's time to get up.
So she just floated there, calm as a cucumber, until she felt her knees scraping sand and seashells, and she just stood up. Boom. She was basically on the shore almost.
She was back into the shallow.
The ocean had just moved her back in because she stopped
freaking out,
flailing.
Okay, well, she's a better person than I, because even if I heard the voice of God or dolphin, I would not be able to relax, and I would still be like...
I'd be gone.
I'd be
You'd never see me again. You'd be like, whatever happened to Ashley Cassidy in 1962?
You'll never see me again.
And then she explains that, like, when she came out of the water, color was more beautiful than she'd ever seen before. She just survived. Like, she had a near-death experience for sure.
Yeah.
She did feel like she wasn't alone, even though the beach was completely empty. She just felt like someone was there, and she kept looking around to see if she could see anyone that could have, like, I don't know, like, told her those things. Like, she wasn't convinced that it was in her head that this voice was coming. She heard the voice.
Mm-hmm.
So she makes her way to the warm sand. She takes a seat, and she's basically marveling at being alive. And as she's sitting there, she watches this dolphin and its baby splash through the water around where she was surfing. At the time, she believed she had heard the voice of God. 50 years later, she was watching a YouTube video by Bashar. Do you know Bashar?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, sidestep Bashar. We have to talk about Bashar.
Have we never talked about Bashar?
We have never talked about Bashar. I don't know how, but today's the day. Bashar, there's a spiritual medium. His name is Daryl Anka. He's actually the cousin of Paul Anka. You know, put your head on my shoulder.
It basically doobie-doobie-doo.
Doobie-doobie-doo. Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay.
I know. That's his cousin.
I love it.
He also worked in the entertainment industry. He was mostly special effects. He did special effects for movies like Star Trek, I, Robot, Pirates of the Caribbean, etc. But in 1973, he had a close encounter with a black triangular UFO that basically made him obsessed with UFOs and the paranormal, as an experience like that usually does.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In 1983, he met a channeler that totally freaked his bean, and he became interested in channeling and started studying the practice. And eventually, after years of mediumship, around 1990, he started tuning in to an entity called Bashar. Bashar is an extraterrestrial that exists in a parallel reality in a time frame that we perceive as the future. And this fella is all over TikTok. If you're on the
All
app,
over
I'm
TikTok.
sure you've seen him.
And if you're a listener of the podcast, I feel like it, like, not like it wouldn't
Your
be on
For You
Alex's
page
For You page, but it's
has to
online.
be similar to ours. You've
Yes.
seen Bashar. He's
You've
a
seen
bald
Bashar.
guy. He wears like Hawaiian shirts.
You'll know Bashar, baby.
You'll know Bashar when you see him.
That is so funny. Okay.
Bashar usually channels messages.
Everything's fine. It just is really getting me now.
You will know why we're giggling if you've ever seen one video of Bashar. He's a very silly entity.
It's a little silly.
He channels messages about all kinds of things: spirituality, sacred geometry, planetary advancement, metaphysics, extraterrestrial life, etc., etc. And a lot of people, he thinks he's a kook and a half. He's pretty silly.
Yeah.
But I watch his videos, so I guess I'm silly too.
Same. I know. I'm a silly Billy. It's fine.
So back to Suzette. 50 years after she survived the experience on the beach, she was watching a Bashar YouTube video where a questioner was asking about dolphins. And Bashar says that dolphins communicate by telepathy. The sounds they make are mainly for echolocation and healing, with some conveying standard simple messages. But the real way that dolphins communicate with each other and occasionally with humans is via telepathy, which is a combination of mental messages and empathy.
I was like, is she meaning to say it that way? Because homegirl.
Telepathy.
No, that makes it telepathy.
And it was at that moment she remembered the dolphins in the ocean when she almost drowned, and immediately it something in her
clicked.
said
Yeah,
that was the voice she heard. It was the dolphin.
I feel like you would just know. I mean, especially because it's something so bizarre that when you hear that, you're like, that was my experience. Because like her experience was bizarre. That statement sounds bizarre to most people, and you would just be like, "Yep, the dolphin."
Bizarre Bashar. That's what I'm gonna call him from
Bizarre
now.
Bashar, baby. It was the dolphins all along.
So according to Bashar, there are two sentient species living on this planet: humans and cetaceans, dolphins, porpoises, and whales, which honestly checks out because they are so
it totally checks out.
Magnificently intelligent.
I know that we've always known that they're so intelligent. That's why this doesn't feel that far-fetched in general.
This isn't that crazy. They're easily the second most intelligent species on the planet behind us, and that's us saying that. So
as cocky,
you know that we are top brass up here.
We're the best. Don't get it wrong.
We're the best, and then maybe dolphins come close, because we have cars. But actually, that reminds me of the Douglas Adams quote from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's actually from So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, where he says, "Man has always assumed that he is more intelligent than dolphins because he has achieved so much. The wheel, New York, wars, and so on, while all the dolphins had ever done was muck about in the water having a good time. But conversely, the dolphins had always believed that they were far more intelligent than man for precisely the same reasons."
Mm-hmm.
I love that man.
That makes so much sense to me. Yeah, I was like, I'm here for that.
So for real, then I was like, cetaceans, how smart are they? What are their developed brains like? They have highly, highly developed language abilities. We know they can learn complicated tricks. Dolphins have served in the U.S. and Russian navies. They've been able to sense cancer tumors like dogs do, and they recognize themselves in mirrors, which is something that even chimps often can't do.
I know. I was about to say that's actually really crazy, and I didn't know that because I feel like people always use that as an example of like, oh, chimps will never quite beat our intelligence. They're close in a lot of ways, but the mirror thing is always like, they can sometimes, but we like maybe like think they do. I don't know.
But you can like take a dolphin and like put a mark on his side,
and
the dolphin will look in the mirror and be like, "Hold up, wait,
that's me.
What?
Oh,
what is this? Hello." which is incredible.
I love that.
They do drugs. Dolphins do drugs.
Excuse me?
They've been observed poking pufferfish and entering a trance-like state of intoxication afterwards. They have a grand old time. They swim around. They blow bubbles. Like, they are so smart.
They would go to music festivals. It's like they're just
They
like
would.
us.
They're just like us. Dolphins, celebrities, just like us.
Oh, we're all doing it. Oh my gosh.
This is a fun fact too. We know from the fossil record that dolphins walked on land somewhere around 50 million years ago, but before they decided to return to the ocean and re-evolve.
You're telling me there were some little legs sticking out of a dolphin?
Yeah. They looked more like dogs, really. They looked more like dogs with longer arms. They looked like dogs that had... They look like dog monkeys. I'll insert a picture. I'll show you a picture. You're gonna be surprised at what a dolphin looked like when it walked on land 50 million years ago. But eventually they were like, it sucks here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the ocean. Like, this place is a nightmare.
Let's get the hell out of here.
So they went back to the ocean. They re-evolved into the shape we see today. And even then, 50 million years ago, they had a massive brain case. By contrast, human beings, we didn't even start walking upright until about 5 million years ago. And our skulls, even at the time, were less than half the size they are now. So evolutionary biologists, when discussing brain size, they all pretty much agree that animals tend to only evolve brains large enough to allow them to survive. But fucking dolphins had big brains for at least 45 million years longer than we have.
Wow. They are smarter.
So I wanted to venture out of like the woo-woo and the telepathic shit and be like, okay, well, I want to look into, because I know that there's like dolphin therapy. And fucking, it's all strange. Like, there's so many strange aspects to dolphins. Like, there's dolphin-assisted birth, which is a real thing.
Wait. Okay, stop. So, instead of a doula, you hire a dolphin?
Mm-hmm.
I just want...
Well, no. You'll have a midwife.
Okay.
But
a dolphin's there. Keep going.
Dolphins are
just
there.
Had to know I was like on the same... I understood what you were saying. Okay.
No, you don't pay the dolphin.
The dolphin isn't there with its fins like,
yeah,
let's go,
like,
baby.
all right. Open up. You're 10 centimeters dilated.
Oh, that would be cute though.
So dolphins know when women are pregnant, and it's not psychic. They literally, their echolocation is basically sonar and essentially ultrasound. They can literally see the babies inside the stomachs of pregnant dolphins and pregnant women, and it fascinates them. They love babies.
That's probably why, like, when pregnant women go to aquariums and zoos, they're like following them around.
They will, because they're like, oh my God.
Isn't this funny? But they're like,
they can see it
in there.
They can see it.
There's a creature.
So anyway, in the Black Sea, underwater births have been practiced for decades. And according to the reports of Israeli midwives, babies born near dolphins grow more quickly, especially their brains, and especially in the first 6 months of their lives. Scientists in Peru say that the squeals and squeaks of dolphins actually stimulate the brain of an unborn child, much like playing music for your child in utero, but that recordings of dolphins don't do nearly as much for the babies as live dolphins. Something to do with the vibrations of the echolocations.
Okay.
And that's something that I find interesting. All of the scientific experiments regarding these claims that being born near dolphins help grow your brain real good, that dolphins assist in developmental disorders like cerebral palsy, autism, PTSD, depression, all of these things, all the results are inconclusive. But all of the tests, like when we actually test it, when we have scientists come in and try and repeat all these tests, have been performed with dolphins in captivity.
Not
wild.
But
the leading researchers in this area say we need to be working with dolphins in the wild. It's something about either their freedom, but also they theorize it has to do with their interconnectedness that allows this magic to happen, almost like a collective consciousness, and the ocean is what is...
They feel more connected to the universe because they are where they're supposed to be in their habitat and they're having their freedom, whereas these dolphins in captivity are like, fuck all y'all. You are ruining my life. I don't even want to open my brain to any of you because you suck.
Yeah.
And like, it's amazing that Nia did it.
Yeah, for a minute.
Nia did it for Cynthia. Then she was pissed.
Then she was fucking pissed and was like, I'll never talk to you again because I thought you could help me and you didn't. Oh, that story fucking kills me.
That breaks my heart.
But I have another guy to introduce us to. His name is Douglas Webster. But now, these days, he goes by Dolphinus.
Dolphinus?
Dolphinus.
Okay, here for it.
He's a former international art dealer who now works as essentially a healer. He's got several blogs. He pops up into podcasts. He also takes people into the ocean to swim with dolphins for healing. And there was one case, this was back in 2002, that changed his life and like completely rewired it to work only with dolphins. Like he is just now obsessed with dolphins, calls himself Dolphinus. Like it's his whole world.
Yeah, I mean, clearly by the name change, yes. Okay.
So back in 2002, he spent a week taking a severely autistic child named Katie into the water to swim with the dolphins. And this girl was completely nonverbal. She did not really even move on her own. So she was essentially just out there to float as Douglas and her mother kept her comfortable and let her experience swimming with dolphins. He said that every day that they went out there, he witnessed dolphin behavior he'd never experienced before. Their vocalizations were out of this world. He said he could feel the sensations of their vocalizations in his actual bones, like he was vibrating.
Wow.
And Katie started vocalizing along with them. Now, again, this girl was like pretty much nonverbal. And she started vocalizing with the dolphins. And when she did that, the dolphins would react. They would change their swimming patterns and they would release all these tiny bubbles that would surround the three of them floating in the water. He said it was he'd never seen it before. And he'd been swimming with dolphins his whole life.
Amazing.
He even said, and this is crazy, that on the final day, when Katie and her mom were due to fly back to England, he was sitting at his desk in his office alone when he received what he can only describe as a thought bubble sent from Katie, the autistic girl. It was just a flood of like ideas and images and notions. And I'm going to post a ton of links in the description of this episode so you can read the entire story there. But essentially, it was a message that was expressing like extreme gratitude for helping her in the water and how important it was for her to be there with the dolphins. And also that her spirit was a light worker and she was essentially an angelic being that chose to incarnate here into a body that was physically and mentally disabled because it would get total care and love from her family, so her consciousness would be completely free from any distractions to focus on this higher frequency light work she was here to do.
Oh my golly gosh.
What?
That is wild.
And this shocked the ever-loving hell out of Douglas. Like, don't think that he got this and he was like, okay, do. Like, it changed the trajectory of his life.
Yeah, like I'm sure he was experiencing something he didn't know how to explain, but it was like, I know this is real and powerful. Like, what do I do with this? Like,
it would be one thing if like he got that, but like didn't have the experience in the water with the dolphins, or like didn't have the experience in the water with the dolphins, but like all of it together was like something happened.
I was like the combination of it. He was like, okay, like I know what I know about dolphins and I know, you know, the magical experience and like scientific things that have happened, but then it's like, so I know this is real because of what I witnessed. It's like that kind of changes you. I don't know. That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And he's not the only one. There's a guru named Eros Christos in California who performs guided meditations to connect you with a dolphin consciousness.
Oh my gosh.
There are 4 locations, 2 in France, 1 in Portugal, and 1 in Norway that specialize in cetacean sound healing. The company is called Cetity, and their website proclaims cetacean sounds are not just for communicating and hunting, but also for self-healing, and that this knowledge is something dolphins and whales have passed down from generation to generation for millions of years. And that has some scientific legs to it because dolphins have shown incredible abilities to recover from really serious injuries, like should be fatal injuries, like large gaping bite wounds from shark attacks or slices from boat propellers. This kind of stuff happens all the time, and these injuries that by all intents and purposes should be fatal, but the dolphins not only survive them, but miraculously heal very rapidly.
Wow.
And are even able to regrow and reproduce blubber, which is not something we thought they could regrow, but they can.
No. Wow.
So when all is said and done, back to the original question, like, are dolphins the non-human intelligence that live in our oceans?
Probably. Fucking seems like it, Ashley.
They talk to us sometimes.
It feels like they're trying to do right by us and the world. Like, they have good intentions, but like we are just not understanding them. But like, they are magical. Like, they are something we do not understand. I think they are. They're the aliens.
When we talk about like an advanced society in the ocean and we're like, yeah, right, like how could that ever happen? And it's like, well, first of all, I feel like it actually probably could, because there's so much of it that's unexplored. Like, how do we know that dolphins don't have like Dolphin City?
Aw.
And they are controlling the spaceships.
Only place in the ocean I would go.
Maybe they're controlling the UAPs. Maybe the UAPs
Honestly
are controlled by their minds. They go down there, they get little electrodes on their head. I know that sounds insane. I'm not saying like it could be, and that's not crazy. That's the craziest thing I've ever said. But at this point,
honestly, that is the best way to put it. At this fucking point, the things that we keep learning, the things that keep happening, why are all the airplanes falling out of the sky? I will accept any information.
Any and all information.
Anything that seems even like
related to this crime.
Possible. Yeah, I know. I believe it.
Guess my dolphin tattoo isn't done, Mom.
My lower back dolphin tattoo is great. It's next to a star. It's meant to be.
I don't have a dolphin tattoo, but I might get one.
I know. Maybe we never got our like keep it weird matching tattoo. Maybe we'll get
matching dolphin tattoo.
And then like a little W above it.
Yeah, I feel like our keep it weird tattoo would be pretty big by now. The death head moth with the cat skull, it would be the dolphin. There'd probably be a bee in there somewhere.
Probably a bee.
For the hive mind.
A triangle, because there are no triangles.
It would be a triangle with an arrow pointing at it that says no.
No, just no. You know what's funny? Because we always make the there are no triangles joke. Mm-hmm. Like, do you remember that you did a stick and poke tattoo on me?
Of a triangle.
Before we even had that thing. Isn't that kind of funny?
That is kind of funny.
It just hit me in this moment.
Do you want to show the listeners what else is funny? We both have broken lamps.
Won't turn on.
It won't turn on. It will not turn on. What does it mean?
Won't do it.
Hello.
And then I log on. Ashley's like, sorry, I've been trying to get my lamp to turn on. And I was like,
I've also been trying to get my lamp to turn on. Yeah.
Didn't even register with me right away, though. And then I was like, why didn't I tell you my lamp's broken, too? Anyway,
that's all the time we have this week for Keep It Weird. Make sure you are following our socials at Keep It Weirdcast. Give us a follow on TikTok if you haven't already. It's super fun over there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel too. Make us look cool. YouTube.com/Keep It Weird Podcast. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our cute little pod. And most importantly, join our Patreon at patreon.com/Keep It Weird Podcast. It's literally how we afford to produce the show. And it's how you get extra episodes every month with your subscription. There are hundreds of unlistened episodes just waiting for your ears. So feel free to toss us a couple bones, listen to a ton of content, and then bounce for 6 months. We are more than happy to see you come and go than to never see you at all.
We understand.
To end the show today, let's spin the wheel and we'll see what fate has in store for us.
What fate? That seemed like Alan Cumming from the Traitors. Like, what fate?
Traitors.
Gosh, I love him. He's the only good part of the season because everyone's so dumb.
I literally quit watching because I don't like it.
You should. But I have to stick with it to the end. I have to know, but it's awful.
We got random question.
Oh, shit.
How about this? What kind of kid were you in school? Did you have 100 different colored pens and wrote your notes in rainbow colors? Did you have a trapper keeper? Did you collect keychains even when you didn't have any keys? What kind of backpack did you carry? What kind of child were you in school?
I was a gel pen and prettiest Lisa Frank planner person.
Wow.
I don't think I ever had a trapper keeper. Is that like the thing that puts a binder inside of it?
Yes.
Or is that like a pencil case?
No, I think a trapper keeper is technically like I think it's one of those like binders that like flaps and then has another little flap over it.
And I hated those. That's like what the boys had, which like call me awful. But yeah, I was like, only boys get trapper keepers. And like there were girls who had them and they were cool and fine. But I was like, I refuse. So I had a matching Lisa Frank pencil case with all my gel pens in it. And then a Lisa Frank planner. And like, even when Lisa Frank was starting to not be cool, I still kept it. And now I'm realizing in this moment, as I tell you, this is why I didn't have a lot of friends, but I loved the rainbow colors. And I would write in my planner, like the most useless, like 5th grade bullshit of like science class at 9:45 because I just wanted to use my gel pens.
Yeah.
Some were sparkly, some were not. And rainbow came through.
What kind of backpack did you have?
I don't remember the backpack. I feel like everything else took priority. I feel like I didn't have anything cute. I think I got a hand-me-down from my brother because we were poors. So I think I just had like a black JanSport that was ripped because my brother gave it to me.
I have no memory of a particular backpack.
But what kind of girl were you otherwise? Let's hear. What did you use?
Extremely unorganized. I definitely had a pencil case, but it looked exactly like my purse does now, where like everything went in that pencil case. Clutter. I couldn't find anything I actually was looking for. Like it was a fucking nightmare. I will say I have pictures of it because it still exists. My binder, which wasn't a trapper keeper, it was just an open and shut like binder. But I had cut out pictures from magazines and made like a big collage on my binder.
Love that. Was David Duchovny on it?
David Duchovny might be on it. I could tell you for sure that every member of Blink-182 was featured on this binder.
I believe that.
I could tell you
I would have said that or Beastie Boys or both.
Yeah, but just like little random. I have to find a picture of it. I will. Fred Durst was on there. Fred Durst was absolutely on there.
Well, we did an episode on Fred Durst.
Fred Durst is innocent. Okay, I don't even know what crime he's being accused of.
Nothing.
But you know what I really liked? So in my school, and I'm sure many schools, many people have this experience, where like if you did good for the week or like you got a certain amount of points for being a good kid, you got to like go to like a prize box that had like candy.
Wilder does that.
Okay,
they still do it.
I was a good kid for the prize box. Like that was my only motivation, was the prize
whatever
box.
It takes, because I know what the teachers are saying. They're like, just can you listen?
I had so many erasers that were shaped like a dog, a pig, a duck, a like whatever.
Correct.
And I had them like lined up inside my desk in secret.
That's so cute.
And I very much so didn't want my friends to know that I did that and collected these little guys. I remember that. And I don't know if they did know. Natalie, hit me up. Did you know I collected
Did you see those erasers?
Animal-shaped erasers, and I kept them on my desk like they were my friends.
Oh, I'm sad we didn't know each other as kids, because you seem like you were my same vibe. I would have loved that. And like I remember getting a million shaped erasers and like using them in the open. And again, I didn't have a lot of friends, so it's not like a nice vote for that. I see why you hid them, but I feel like we could have found each other and been nerds together.
One time I tried to convince the members of my friend group that I was a werewolf. And to convince them, what I would do is on the ground, I put my hands on the ground and like my face was in darkness and I howled.
How old were you when you did this?
This was probably like 3rd grade.
Okay.
And I
I can accept that.
remember getting made fun of.
I mean,
but I stand by it.
I'm like, listen, again,
I
I support you as a fellow weird ass kid who had no friends. However, like, I see why you would be made fun of, because I was made fun of for pretending I had an evil twin in 3rd grade. So I'd be like, Lauren's gone. It's Lucinda.
It's
No, I have no idea.
Lucinda
I had
now.
another name that started with an L, but
so you were also the evil twin.
Ashley,
you were the good twin.
Are you
and
not
the
understanding the dumb shit that I did? I had
Lauren, I just told you I pretended I was a werewolf and in shadow. It didn't matter that the moon wasn't out. It was just a shadow wolf.
I would be like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom during recess, and I'd come back out just looking a little angrier, like huffing and puffing. I think it was Layla. I literally think it was Layla, because I wanted to be named Layla and asked my mom to legally change my name at one point. She was like, nope.
No, I won't do that.
Fair enough. Happy she didn't. But I would come out and be like, it's Layla now. And no one believed me. Nobody cared.
Oh, no one believed you? That's so weird.
But like, no, nobody even like cared or like was even like listening. That's how much of a geek I was. And but I still stomped around as Layla.
Well, I'm really glad we found each other, even though it was late.
This was healing.
This was so healing.
We're the dumbest and best.
Agreed.
I think we're creatives.
Listen.
Sorry.
Everyone that's creative is a little weird and crazy, okay? And you can't express your creativity through art, as we know. So you have to.
I'm crying.
You have to find other ways.
Werewolf, an evil twin, and just the weirdest people. Keep it weird as always.
Keep it weird, everybody.
Oh my god.
No, we'll end it properly. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Keep it
weird.